Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at these WORKPRO 8-inch long nose slip joint pliers. So these were provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase some of these, I'll put a link in the description, and if you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost anything extra. So let's get these open. Here we have a manual, mostly has notes on it. It does list some of the features. They're made of chrome vanadium, has precision machined serrated jaws for maximum gripping and turning, extended and widened jaws for easy access to deep and narrow spaces, 2 versatile jaw positions. The bottom of the jaw has a wire shear, plastic dip handles. Then we have some maintenance guidelines. We also have a brochure with some of their other products. Let's get these out. So here are the pliers. Now it has some oil on it for transport. I'll wipe that off. So it has this soft touch vinyl grip on it. These are a combination of needle nose pliers and slip joint pliers. So slip joint is this type of joint. I'm guessing a lot of people are familiar with it, but if you're not, I'll demonstrate it here. So you can use these like a normal plier. If you want the wider position, you want to open it all the way, slide it down. Sometimes you need to wiggle a little to get it into the position. And now you have the wider position. So when these are fully closed, it actually is touching here, but it's not as tight of a tolerance as if you have it in this position. So here we have it open down here and closed firmly there. Here it just almost touches here. So in the smaller position, we're opening up about 4 1/4 in the tips. We'll go to the other position and we're at about 5. Of course, you're not typically going to use it that wide open, but so we have some different gripping surfaces here. We have the flat surface, a slightly rounded surface, and a larger rounded surface. So this has some fine grooves in it and this has some wider ones. And then down here we have a cutter. Let's look at the tip. It'll focus on that. You can see the tolerance there. It's matching up nicely. So if we switch it to the wider mode, it matches up even pretty nicely on that. When we have it on the smaller mode, the flats are parallel when it's about 1/8 of an inch open. When we go to the other mode, it looks to be maybe 1/2 inch when the flats are parallel. So here I have some aluminum wire. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. So I could grip these by the end, and I could use these to, say, bend it, like so. So that grips nice and tight since it's serrated there. I could even grip it here if I wanted to have a little bit more grip, like that. With the shear here, I could cut this. I want to be careful, I don't want this to fly off. Like so. And they're feeling really nice in the hand. Now I like to hold pliers like this with a finger here. So I'll use these to move back and forth, like so. So let's see how much control I have. Let's try and bend this in kind of a curve. So there I was able to make a little curve. So lots of control. So I'd say these pliers work very well for manipulating wire. Here I am at under the hood of my car. Now here's the place I like to use slip joint pliers, is for things like hose clamps. So in the regular position here, I don't feel like that's the most ideal. I'll widen these out. And that fits nicely on there. And we have the grips on the end, so I can squeeze on this and loosen up that hose clamp, and then I can slide it forward. Now I don't want to take this off right this second, but you can see I can easily put the pressure on there to release that hose clamp. Now this is a very large hose clamp, but you have smaller hose clamps in places where I think these would also work. So on larger ones you could spread these out. On smaller ones you can leave them in the default position. So here's a smaller hose clamp. I'm not 100% sure what that's for off the top of my head. Probably some kind of vacuum line. But that fits on there nicely. So I know they make special tools for removing hose clamps, but I like to use slip joint pliers. And I find the form factor on these slip joint pliers work well for removing hose clamps because they have that nice serrated tip on it with lots of grip. Now these could also be used for doing something like removing a battery terminal. So I can use them in the regular mode, like so, or I can widen them out depending on the bolt. Now I don't like to use pliers like this for removing bolts, because it can strip them, not just these pliers, but any pliers like this that isn't a wrench or socket. But if you're in a situation where you don't have any other tools and you need to do the job, pliers like this would work well. So I can grip on here and I could loosen that up. So here we have an axle nut on a bicycle. Now this is in pretty good shape, so I'd rather use a wrench on this. But if this was rounded over, or if I didn't have any other tool, I can open this up and fit this right on here and have a good grip on that. So those are the WORKPRO long nose slip joint pliers. A pair of pliers like these are very versatile. As I showed in the video, I commonly use slip joint pliers for hose clamps, But just if I'm working on, say, a plumbing project, I may have a pipe that I need a pipe wrench on to break loose, but then I need to unthread it. And if it's a little bit too hard to unthread by hand, I can put this in the wider mode and clamp it around here and use these lightweight pliers to easily wrench it off, as opposed to using a big, huge, heavy pipe wrench and then do my final tightening or loosening with a big pipe wrench. So if you have some sort of knurled fitting, I really like to use this area here to tighten those down. Like if you had trouble getting a hose off of a hose bib, you could use this here. That'll open up wide enough on the wide mode. But they feel good in hands, have nice handles on it, so I think these would be a great addition to my toolbox. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.